Assalamu alaikum, everyone. The topic that I've got today is not an academic one. I thought it was getting a bit too academic. I thought we'd talk about something else, something slightly more fun. Essentially, I got asked a few questions regarding how is life in general in English-speaking countries. I think it's a great topic. It's a great question. There's a lot that can be unpacked, and it's critical to know some of the things before you fly to whatever English speaking country you are flying to. So what I've done is that I've divided this video into 4 bits. In the first part, we'll talk about some of the things that you should straight away get done as soon as you land in any English speaking country. In the second one, we'll talk about understanding their culture and how to essentially integrate seamlessly into such societies. In the third one, if you're a parent and you've got kids, somebody like me, for example, and you're raising your kids in these English-speaking countries, then what should you do? What are the challenges? What should you look out for, basically? And last one, how are these societies in general? So let's start with the first one, which is essentially some of the things that you should immediately get out of the way as soon as you land in any English-speaking country. So some of the things that you should straight away get done as soon as you land here. I think top of the list, that'll be your driver's license. When some of the jobs are advertised, sometimes in the description it's mentioned that only apply if you have a driver's license. So I think it's critical, in my view, it's critical that as soon as you land, you get your driver's license process started. If you know how to drive, then that's fantastic. Just find out what are the requirements, take the test, and then go from there. If you don't know how to drive, then it's best that you get into a driving school and learn how to drive so that you can get your process started. So that's something that you should straight away get out of the way. And then I think setting a bank account, that's again one of the first things that you should do. If you're one of those lucky people and you land and you find a job the very next day, how are you going to get paid? So it's critical that you set up your bank account. Setting up a bank account is not that difficult, actually. These days, if you're coming to New Zealand, for example, I don't know about the rest of the countries, but if you're coming to New Zealand, for instance, it is quite possible to have a bank account in New Zealand while you are somewhere else. So even before traveling to New Zealand, you can have a bank account here. It's quite possible. So again, important, get your bank account set up. And then I think your traveling cards. Not everyone has the luxury to straight away land and buy a car. Not everybody can do that. So obviously you have to use buses and trains. So it's important that you find out as much information as you can and get your traveling card sorted. I don't know about the United Kingdom now, but when I was there, they used to have Oyster cards. In New Zealand, they have Hop cards. So it's pretty much the same thing, a traveling card. It costs you less. Tickets in buying tickets is going to cost you more. So it's best that you get your traveling card sorted as soon as you can. And then schools and kindies, if you're a parent and you've got kids, depending on their age, some of them are going to go to schools, some of them are going to go to kindies or kindergartens. So it's best that you find out that information as well, so that the kids are sorted while you're finding a job, you are at home. It's important that at least the kids are not at home. They should be going to school in kindergartens or kindies as they are called. Get that information, get the kids sorted, get the kids out of the way as soon as possible. And I think health services, that's also something that you should get done straight away. God forbid if you fall sick. Sickness is not going to tell you before it comes, right? So God forbid if you fall sick, you should know exactly where the clinic is or where the hospital is and what doctor to go to and that sort of stuff. Now, some people are lucky. They land, they've got people there to guide them. But sometimes guidance is not available. So I think it's important to know that there are bodies or departments set up by the government, that are there to help out such people who don't know much about the processes in a certain country. For example, in New Zealand, we have CABS, CAB, or Citizen Advice Bureau. All you have to do is to look up, their phone number, dial the closest one, or just walk into one of their offices. You talk to them and they pretty much guide you about everything. I remember when I came here, I did not know much about kindies. My second child, She was below 5 at that time, so she couldn't go to a school. She had to go to a kindy. So I didn't know much. So I called one of the cabs and got this information from them. They guided me, and the very next day I got my child into my second child into one of the kindies. So yeah, some of the things that you should straight away get out of the way. I'll quickly recap. Set up a bank account, get your driver's license done, health services, it's important. Find out where the doctor is, and get registered as soon as you can. If you're a parent, get information about your schools and kindies, and then last, your traveling card. Your traveling card is going to be a lifesaver, because obviously how are you going to travel if you're going to be buying tickets? And as I said, it's going to be very, very expensive. Yeah, in the second part of the video, we'll move on towards understanding the culture, and essentially how to become a part of the society. So that's in the second part. Understanding the culture and becoming a part of the society. That's a slightly tricky one. This is my observation, and I could be wrong. What I've seen is that people, when they land in these English-speaking countries, they look for people from their own community, which is great. That's fine. But then the problem is that once they find the people from their own community and from their own country, they don't progress beyond that. They make a certain social circle, and then they prefer to stick to that. I believe, in my observation, that stops your learning, and that also stops, more importantly, that also stops a lot of opportunities coming your way. Because look, at the end of the day, it is a country where your community is not the only community. There are other communities out there as well that are stronger. They have strength in numbers, and they know more people. So even from the perspective of networking, if you're not really bothered about learning, which you should be, but if you aren't, then even from the perspective of networking, it's very important that you think beyond your own community as well. Be a part of your own community, of course, that is critical, that is very important. But then just don't stop there. Try to get to know people from other communities as well, because as I said, it's not only going to bring some learning your way, but it is also going to present you with certain opportunities that you may not have if you are only a part of your own community. So that's one thing. Now, how do you do that? Like, if you're a parent, then the best part is that there will be many school events. Become a part of that. You'll go there, you'll meet people from your neighborhood, you'll meet people from different walks of life and from different communities. So that's one way to do it. If you're not a parent, then I think there's another way, which is a very simple one. Just go to the local council's website. On the local council's website, all the events are mentioned, upcoming events, whatever is happening, for example, on the weekend, is going to be there. Just note down the date, note down the time, and then just pay, go to that event, pay that place a visit. You're bound to find people, like-minded people, from various communities, and that helps. If you're looking to be a part of the society, that helps a lot. The other thing that you can do is that there are certain things that are not just a hobby for these people. They are a part of their lifestyle. For example, sports. For these people, sports is not something that they do for fun. It's, of course, it's a fun activity, but for them, it's a part of the lifestyle. They have to do it. Could be any sport. Could be snooker. Could be cricket. Could be football, rugby, swimming, whatever. So that's also something that you can, if you are a sporty person, even if you're not a sporty person, join a club, sports club. That is another way of sort of finding out who's who, and what's happening in the neighborhood, finding out more people, and essentially networking and becoming a part of the society. It's good for your physical health, good for your mental health, and it's, if you've got kids, again, it's very good for your kids as well, because then they start making friends with the kids of the friends that you make, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's something that you could do and you should do. Essentially, look for your own community when you land, but also go beyond that and make sure that you become a part of other communities as well. It's going to bring a lot of networking, it's going to bring a lot of opportunities and a lot of learning your way. Yeah. Moving on, we'll go towards raising kids, how to raise kids in these societies. We'll do that in the next part. Raising children in English speaking countries can be a very rewarding experience, can be a very challenging experience. I'll tell you how it's challenging first, because you see, you have to change your parenting style completely. What we are used to is that, parents can say whatever and they can get away with it, and whatever they say goes, basically. And they can even impose their views on their kids if they want to. Over here, it's not like that. There's no physical or mental abuse. It's just illegal, so that's out of question. You have to treat your kids as adults. You have to speak to them. You have to respect their opinion, their views. And if you're trying to, discipline them, or if you're trying to redirect them, if they are misled, for example, if they are misguided and you're trying to redirect them, then you have to speak to them. You have to talk to them in a certain way, and you have to bring them to that point where they start understanding your views, where they start seeing things the way you want them to see things. As I said, you can't really impose your views on them. So that's one thing. And I think it goes a long way. It goes a long way because, it develops their personality. When you start treating them as adults, then they mature and they start acting as adults. So their personality essentially develops. So the parenting style is going to be quite different. So yes, it's very challenging, extremely challenging. I went through that, but at the same time, it's rewarding as well. Once you start seeing the results, once you start seeing your kids acting maturely, then you feel that you feel accomplished. You feel as if you've done something, you've achieved something. So that's one thing. The other thing is that education here is quite different. We are used to rote learning and memorization. There's very little room for rote learning and memorization here. The kids, yes, a teacher teaches, but a kid learns as well. It's kind of like that. Now, what do I mean by that? Like a teacher teaches whatever they teach, but the kid, they have an opinion as well. They have a view as well, and it's equally important. So essentially, the teacher's teaching and the child's views, they come together, and some learning comes out of that, if that makes sense. It's not a one-way street. That's what I'm trying to say. So education, as I said, it's quite different. Things are discussed. Things are not taught or told to the students as such. Things are discussed. So that's the essential difference. If I talk about the general respect that kids show to their teachers and parents, so here it's extremely important that you earn a kid's respect. Like back in our society, what happens is that if there is someone who's older than you, you have to respect them no matter what. You have to respect them, and that's fine. That's fine. However, there are a few things that are a bit different here. Kids will only respect you, if you've earned their respect. If you have to sort of convince them that you know more than them, and you are basically more mature than them. That's the only way you can earn their respect. So yeah, so these are some of the basic differences. Your parenting style, education, and the concept of respect. It's quite different here. Kids are pretty straightforward. I'm not saying rude. I'm not using the word rude here. I'm saying they're very straightforward. Whatever they feel, they say it. And as a parent, or as someone who is senior to them or who's older than them, you have to basically be ready to have an honest and mature conversation with them, rather than telling them off. You can't do that. If you do that, then you've lost respect for good. So yeah, these are some of the differences that you will find as a parent, or some of the challenges that you'll have to face as a parent when you're raising your kids here. But if you can overcome these challenges, then on the other side there are lots of rewards, and you can see your kids developing and maturing into people that you want them to be. Yeah, so essentially, bottom line, if you're coming here as a parent, just be ready to change. There will be many changes that you'll have to make, in order to make sure that your children become a part of this society, and they turn into mature adults, rather than getting confused, and rather than getting misled. Yeah, I know that I said that I do another part, which would be society, and English speaking society in general, but I think this video is getting a bit too long. So I'll do a separate video on that. For now, that's me. That's all that I had. And yeah, again, discussion, questions, comments, more than welcome. Just let me know what you feel, what you think, and happy to interact with you. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.